Now in our 6th year, this is GabNet, the Great American Broadcast Network. Talk like you've never heard it before.
Hey! This is Alex. This is the Ramble. See, that's what it said. From the 4th most infected city in the United States until midnight tonight, Eastern Time. His name is Larry Bubbles Brown, and Larry is a comedian. Right, Larry?
A comedian, an occupation that no longer exists because of the virus.
Yeah, and he is in San Francisco, California, and he is an old friend and trusted colleague. How's that? You like that?
That sounds very... Is this my eulogy?
Yeah, this is your eulogy. Yeah, I need coffee today, and I left it in the other room, but I'll go get it for our next one. Anyway... so how's things out in California? You say you've got the sniffles today or something?
Well, we both have allergies, so I didn't have them until a few years ago. Now I seem to get them every year. It's really annoying.
Well, you know what I do? What I bought? I went out and bought a air purifier.
Oh, okay.
And it seems to help a little bit, but I have sinus pressure, so I don't know if that has to do with it at all. But so far as allergies are concerned, it filters out pollen and gives you the room smells fresher. You know, it feels fresher. So,
how much those cost?
This one cost me $200, but I have a big room. I have a big room. In your case, you could probably get the tiniest one made.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My prison cell here.
For your prison cell. Have you been going out at all?
Just to run. There's a few places are open now. Like you can go to restaurants and order food, but you have to eat it outside.
Yeah.
And I guess the same's in New York, right?
Well, yeah. Well, you know, we're so happy here in New York because you were the first state to pass us in number of cases. And then let's see here, Florida just passed us in cases. So we're now number 3. We used to be number 1 without question, okay? And now all of a sudden...
We were really low at the beginning. Now we've raced to the top.
And Texas is about 10,000 behind us. So they're coming up quick, and it looks like they're going to beat us, and we're going to be number 4.
Well, you won.
Well, you know, we could still be number 1, but our damn governor decided to clear up the situation, and so we're really having very few cases here. I mean, it's amazing. There are only something like 725 people in hospitals here with COVID in the entire state.
And what was it at the peak?
Oh God, I don't know. Thousands upon thousands. Yeah, we were doing 800 deaths a day. We're now down to. It fluctuates between like 5 and 12. You know, there's a fluctuation in there.
Jesus.
But that's pretty good.
Well, maybe it'll go away.
Well, I don't think so. It's not with the way the American people are. Today, somebody wrote an op-ed in the New York Times saying the reason we're never going to solve this problem in the United States is because Americans are selfish. He said, and they just don't know how to watch out for each other. And they feel their right to not wear a mask, for instance, it's their constitutional right. Bullshit. It's my constitutional right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And I think the first caveat there is life.
Life? Well, I was just thinking, we have flu seasons, and those run about 4 months, right? But
yeah.
Why can't this one go away?
Well, because this is a different kind of flu. This is a much more, to begin with, this is a far more insidious flu than the others. The others are, they're flus. They're just they're annoyances. And people die from them, by the way, I might add.
Oh, a lot die, yeah.
Yeah. But this one isn't going to go away because it is highly infectious. And unless we do what we've got to do, wear masks, social distancing, don't have indoor dining, all these things that we've been told we should do, unless, if we do that, we strangle the virus. We give it no way to spread, and then it dies. But what we're doing is we're creating situations that's enhancing its ability to live and to survive and to spread. And since it's far more insidious than a lot of others, the virus we got here in New York, since it came from Europe, may be a different strain of the virus. I mean, there are things like that are going on that are, Now, what we've done is he put everybody indoors. He said, don't come out. Wear a mask if you go out. Social distance. We're cleaning the subways. He did all the things that needed to be done, and by doing that, we strangled the virus. And now we're the cleanest state in the country. There's no state cleaner than this one. Now, that may not remain so because all you infected people from the other states are coming here. So people go, well, it's clean in New York. Let's get out of Georgia and go to New York. Thank you very much. All right?
Don't they quarantine you if you're coming from out of state?
They ask you to quarantine yourself. They can't follow you. We don't have the resources legally to chase people around and figure out where they're going and how they're handling the situation, So it's kind of, it's sad. It's really sad. In fact,
I'm trying. We're going to get a vaccine. That seems a little lofty.
Well, I think we'll get a vaccine, but it's not going to be before the first of the year. And in the meantime, we could have another 50,000 deaths. What I don't get is here in New York, we pretty much solved it. It isn't a matter so much of solving it, but being assiduous in the way you handle it. New Yorkers, when they're told, hey, that you got to do this or you're going to die, they do it. And New Yorkers are very tough that way. And so we all, I know that I stayed indoors for, I think the first maybe 2 months. I didn't go out.
Incredible.
And then when I started to go out, it was like for a short time and then come back and then wash your hands and take a shower and, all of that. Now it's a little easier. The other day I went the furthest I've ever been away from this apartment in the entire 5 months. I went to Mount Sinai Hospital, which is about 20 blocks away. That's the furthest I've been out of this house.
Jesus.
But, the question is, even if I go out, where is there to go? Nothing's open. I'm not going to a movie. I'm not going to go down to Apple to look at the latest gizmo or whatever, or go to Best Buy and get myself some electronics or, whatever I might do on a normal Sunday. I'm not going to go to the Gap and buy some shirts, right? So even if I could go out, there's nothing to do once I get there,
So that brings up another thing where I think this is going to lead into a huge depression. All these businesses that won't come back.
I think you're right. I think you're very right. I think that we are getting into a very bad situation in which the government doesn't really have the ability to solve the problem. They're too busy fighting over what they're going to do, and how they're going to do it. And are we going to give them money, and how are we going to give them the money? Well, we don't want to give them the money and have them just waste it, all this stuff. Rather than just saying, hey, look, pal, it's time that you, you as a government start watching out for the people. Damn it, and that doesn't seem to exist. So it's we don't know how to handle this kind of thing. We're too selfish. The government is too selfish. I heard somebody yesterday saying, "Well, we can give them $600 additional to their unemployment, but they should have to prove they really need it because we don't want people just staying home and not going back to work because we're giving them too much." What work?
Yeah.
It's that kind of idiocy, and I don't understand it, to tell you the damn truth. But how is it out there? Is it bad in San Francisco? Is it kind of calm? I looked and I saw that San Francisco wasn't as profoundly hit, say, as L.A.
No, I think L.A.'s been hit really bad, but it seems to be almost business as usual around here. I don't think everyone's really good about wearing the mask.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
People are definitely, traffic is back up to normal.
Yeah.
As before, there was somebody said I'm now getting 2 months to a gallon.
2 months to
a gallon.
To a gallon. Yeah. Well, it's
That was weird though. It's just just how the traffic is out here. You'd go out and there was literally no one on the street. Oh, that was nice. But
yeah.
That's all gone now.
Right. So it's okay, huh?
It's okay. The hospitals are not overwhelmed, and what I've heard is the virus may have mutated a little to where it's more contagious but less lethal. It's got a pretty low death rate.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's not a question that it's less lethal. I think we have come up with ways of solving the problem more. In other words, treating it. We're not exactly treating it like we once were. Okay, they're having a tendency not to use respirators. Those whatever they call
ventilators.
Ventilators. That's the last thing they do because they don't want to put you on one. Because if they put you on one, there's only an 80% chance you're going to a 20% chance you're going to survive. So that's a big problem that way. And they've also found that if they lie people on their stomachs, it helps. Because for some reason it allows the lungs to open up or something like that. So in other words, there are things they found in the people who first died of this died because we just didn't know what the hell we were doing. Now we kind of know what we're doing, so the death rate has gone down. It would be far worse if this were at the beginning and you were having to deal with this at the beginning. So,
Yeah, you don't want to get if they say you get in the ventilator, you've got a pretty good chance of dying.
Yeah. So, why deal with that? Why you did. So they've learned that they've got to up their game a little bit. And there are different ways of handling the situation, and certain things aren't as deadly as others. So
you probably remember this, and I had it in 1968-69. There was the Hong Kong flu that killed 150,000 people.
Yeah, worldwide, I think.
No, in the United States.
In the United States, 150,000.
Yeah,
Hong Kong flu. Huh.
Look it up.
I'm going to have to look that up. I don't think so, because we've lost almost 150,000 to this, and this is the deadliest flu I think we've ever seen.
Well, it said 100. It said if they adjusted the population, it would be 150,000.
Oh, adjusted it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. In other words, it was if you took the percentage and then adjusted it to today's population, it would be 150,000.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
But it isn't 150,000. So dead is dead.
I know. Very sad.
Yeah. Do you know anybody who has COVID?
I don't know anyone. No.
Really? Okay. 'Cause I know somebody who does. So. But it's scary, It's now killing, there's a 9-year-old kid in Florida who died of it. And they say the kids don't die of it. And
it's really rare for a kid, apparently.
Well, try telling that to a parent, okay, who is now being told, send your kid to school. Now, maybe there's only one kid who died in Florida who was 9 years old. But are you going to take the chance that your kid's going to be the second 9-year-old to die?
You might if you don't want them living
Yeah.
homeschooled.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, it's really it's pretty terrible. The whole thing is just it's the worst thing. I think it's the worst thing psychologically that's ever happened to this country.
Oh yeah, they said you can't get a marriage counselor right now. They're so booked because of couples being at home 24/7 and getting on each other's nerves.
Well, that's understood.
But you're doing well.
I'm doing okay. I haven't tried to kill her yet. So.
Well, that's because you got a huge house.
Yeah. Hey, listen, time's up. Got to go.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's Larry Bubbles Brown.
Now in our 6th year, this is GabNet, the Great American Broadcast Network. Talk like you've never heard it before.
Hey there, everybody. Here we are, going with our other portion of the program. Thank you so much to Larry Bowles Brown. Love talking to him because, as I've said before, he gets me to talk. You know, he brings up stuff and so on. Look at this. Should I get a facelift? Get rid of that and get rid of this here. How would I look? I'd look kind of Chinese, wouldn't I? Oh well. Then Trump could hate me. All right? Okay. All righty. Let's see here. I'm trying to figure out, do I need a little more volume there? Okay. Anyway, welcome to our program. Welcome to the 4th most infected city in the United States. We have been beaten out now by Florida, Texas, just to join the club, and California is number 1 for cases of COVID. So, you know, but they had a nice little thing today before Congress. You know, well, I'll get into it in a bit here because it'll take us time to kind of get ready. But anyway, it's time now to go and invite some people in. Now, I have Howard in Hawaii. I know that. Okay. And Charlie Wallace and Phil Meyer. Okay. Now, let me then go over here, and there they are, ladies and gentlemen. So far, that's the citizen panel. Hi, everybody. How are you? Yeah. Now, let's see here. We'll add Rob Alfano, and we'll add Robert Natali, and now there's one person here, Ann Nunn. Now, I don't know. Could that be John Larkin? I don't know. Let's see. If not, we'll get rid of him real fast. Okay, here we go. Ann Nunn. Let's see who Ann Nunn is.
Hey Phil, can you hear me?
Yeah, it's our
Yeah, I can hear you.
Ann Nunn.
Do I sound better now?
Huh? Yeah, you sound fine.
I'm on my wife's tablet.
Oh, okay, fine. Vernon Nunn, actually. Oh, and that's why it says Ann Nunn. Oh, okay. I see. I didn't know if it was going to be that or somebody trying to spoof me a bit tonight. Here comes. Oh, come on. There we go. Jeff Stein, and this is so easy. And Josh Wheeler, so easy to use Zoom. Wow. Look at all the people we get all of a sudden right out. Oh, and Josh Wheeler. This is an embarrassment of riches tonight. Yeah. Hello, Robert's with us, and Rob is with us, and Phil is with us, and Charlie Wallace is with us, Vernon Nunn, Jeff, and of course Josh Wheeler. And I keep wanting to go Josh Whedon. You know who Josh Whedon is, don't you? He's a director. You know, right, Charlie?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, hello to everybody. How are you? Welcome to my world. You know, I finally figured out why I'm tired all the time, why I feel fatigue all the time. From the radiation, you can have fatigue up to a year. Is that right, Vernon? Yes, because you went through it. Are you feeling fatigued, Phil?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am.
Yeah. You like feel tired. You sleep, but you wake up and you don't feel like you slept, right?
Yeah. Towards as the day progresses, I get more and more tired.
Yeah. Well, between you and Vernon and myself, we are here on this show, the Cancer Cluster. So,
Yeah, we make it glow.
you went like
Well,
that,
you see, I'm
Robert.
orange.
Have you had
See my
cancer
orange
too?
glow?
Robert, have you had cancer too?
No.
Oh, you went like that, so I thought maybe.
No, I was happy you have a group.
Yeah, well, yeah, we have a support group here.
Yeah.
Here comes Herbert Schoderheit. This has got to be John Larkin.
Larkin.
It's
Yeah.
got to be Larkin, right?
That'll be Larkin.
All right, let's see here. There, of course. You can't fool us anymore, John. How do you people like waiting in that waiting room? What does it look like? Does it have my logo there and stuff?
No.
It's a
No, but it's okay.
There's Plank.
yeah. It's okay. Can you hear the audio from in there?
No,
No.
no, you have to listen to it on another device.
Oh, I see. Okay. So.
You could upgrade the magazines too.
Yeah.
Coffee.
Yeah. Boy.
Actually, I was listening on YouTube, and then I had to, close that out once you let me into the room, so it wouldn't get the feedback.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what it's like in there because I've never been in there, but I feel it's kind of like a
Purgatory.
It's purgatory.
Yeah.
Yeah, is what it is. Yeah. How you doing, Rob?
I'm doing okay. Had a little bit of a scare in my family yesterday. My brother, who's 3 years younger than me, got rushed to the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
He lost sight in one eye.
Oh.
He was working.
Wow.
Today, it's determined he had a stroke, a mild stroke, and he's got AFib. All this stuff that he found out that he had because he hasn't been to a doctor since like 1989.
Well, that would do it. Of course,
Did
if you
your
don't go,
brother lose some serious weight?
He did.
yeah, of course,
He gained a lot of it back.
If you don't go to the doctor, you won't get sick.
That's right. Ignorance is bliss.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I'll give you a good story. You still wearing your Apple Watch?
Yeah.
Got it on?
Yep.
It's a pretty cool thing.
Yeah. Because
But it's my brother tells me tonight he's in the hospital. I called him on his cell phone and he says, "Guess what? Remember when I got the Apple Watch last Christmas?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "It told me to contact my doctor," and he ignored it.
he ignored it because
ignored
it's okay, Brian. It says not John Larkin.
It was censored.
Because the watch has a defibrillator thing. How many people do we have, Phil? What is it?
It's 11.
Is it a cancer cluster? What is it? It's a royal flush.
Royal flush. Yeah.
Royal flush. Okay, here we go. Royal flush. There we go. What was I going to say? What were we talking about?
The watch.
The watch. It has a heart rate thing. It has a
And it told him,
yeah.
you need to contact your doctor.
Yeah.
It's like the check engine light in your car, right? You
It's pretty
ignore
cool
it.
when you think about it.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That's pretty freaking cool for a piece of wearable technology to be able to tell you need to go to your doctor.
It's what do they call it? It's not an electrocardiogram. It's a cardiogram of some sort, and it can tell you when you're defibrillating.
Right.
And it will go off when it senses it, And it's a great feature on the watch, and they may be adding other stuff medically to this watch, but I think they're kind of what's the word I'm looking for?
Reticent?
Reticent to, because they don't want to get sued, So they got to make sure whatever they tell you to do works,
And if they just point you to your doctor and you're smart enough to listen.
Well, if I want a medical opinion, okay, the first person I'm going to call if I feel sick or I feel ill, first person I'm going to call is Donald Trump.
No, me.
Of course.
Because in fact, I don't know why we elected him president. He would have been a damn good surgeon general, wouldn't he?
Take 100 milligrams of Clorox and call me in the morning.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Oh, by the way, they had a thing about another piece of misinformation, the thing about kids, that they're immune.
Yeah.
Today, Fauci said, no, they're not immune. They get the virus, but it's just that they don't have the same danger that you would have if you were older. However, they can pass it on to their family
Yeah.
Very easily.
very
Yeah, they
easily.
said in
And
some
so-
cases,
but the
the
president's
kids
telling
might be
everybody,
carrying-
don't worry about your kids. Your kids are immune. You know,
Well,
You
they,
see what's going on in baseball? I mean, it is very scary.
and they're determined to
Miami.
play games.
They are, but I mean, how many players on the Marlins are infected now? 20?
14, 20.
I think it's 20, and three,
a couple
and
St.
three,
Louis Cardinals.
and yeah.
Well, how many
couple-
guys are on a team to begin with? You know?
Well, there's 30, 40 guys.
35 or
You know, they're gonna get down to their farm teams pretty soon.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, but you know, I
We're gonna
just
have a special team for just sick people.
yeah, I think there's just been a lot of misinformation running around, and it's not good. It's not good. People should know.
They said the Marlins are going to play on Sunday. Are you crazy?
Not yet. They haven't. I heard that that's the tentative date.
That's
If I
a
hit
key-
the ball, I'm not running to first base.
I want to know
It's
if you're
okay.
playing baseball and you
Just don't tag me.
Now, if you're playing baseball, I guess you can keep kind of a social distance, except when somebody tags you. But my
Yeah, I
question
mean-
is, and this is a good question: every time you throw the ball, do you have to put hand sanitizer on it?
They throw the
scratch
ball out
and then
constantly.
they touch the ball.
Yeah.
Yeah,
If
don't
the
hit a
ball
home run
touches-
because then you get mobbed at home plate.
If the ball touches too many hands, it gets thrown out of the game.
Well,
So
I-
if it's going back
Yeah.
and forth between the pitcher and catcher, that's fine. You notice a lot of times they won't throw the ball around, strike a guy out or whatever. They won't throw the ball around the field to get it back to the pitcher. They throw it straight back to the pitcher. Just
Oh,
to keep-
really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. It's, I mean, if you can't play the game without going through all this, don't play the game until, you've got the vaccine or things like that.
I know it's stupid.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm enjoying it.
The empty
I think it's good
Yeah.
for our psyche. It's good for the country.
Yeah, I've missed this.
Yeah, but it's not good for the players. That's the
Well,
problem.
So I'll tell you this:
Hmm.
the Yankees, and I know only because I follow the Yankees very closely.
Yeah.
Any of the players who have been affected by it so far have been symptomless.
Really?
Symptomless.
Really? Okay.
But they've tested positive and they've gone through it. They've kept working out every day because they don't have any symptoms, but they have the virus. So these guys are young. They're in the tip-top shape. And so far, none of them have been, I don't know about the Marlins, but none of the Yankees who have had it, and there have been 3 so far. In fact, Aroldis
Give it to
Chapman.
other people.
Yeah. Well, one
Is
of
that-
our team, kind of our team, has it, or his family has it. Is Albert?
And the
Albert
only
hasn't?
Albert doesn't have it. He won't tell me who in the family has it.
Oh, okay.
Because he says it's kind of like people will then put a stigma on them or something, But yeah, his household they're quarantined.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. Because somebody in the household got it because his wife works at a supermarket and his stepson works in a supermarket. And so I think it's probably one of them. But who knows? Albert might have it now.
Nah.
Because, it's a very infectious disease. That's the problem with it. It's not, people say, well, it's like all the other flus. No, this is far more insidious and infectious.
Yep.
Otherwise, it wouldn't be causing the problem it's causing now. Yeah, sure. Yeah, I mean, Albert yesterday said to me, an average year, we lose 40,000 people to the flu. And I went, okay, that's fine. We're
Is that worldwide?
110,000 more with this one
Wait, is that worldwide or in this country?
in this
Oh,
country.
just in this country.
Yeah, but I said, and that's in far less time than that flu. The
Yeah.
other flus affect you.
We've
So
done 4 times that in 5 months instead of 12.
what are they predicting? The next 3 months will be another. Did I see?
We'll hit 180,000 in 3 months.
180,000? Oh boy. No, I think more than that. That's what I heard. But anyway.
Like 180
Well, that's
to
the projection.
220.
Yeah. So no matter what you say about the normal flu, this far exceeds the normal flu. So,
It's going to disappear.
huh?
Just going to disappear.
Oh, just going to disappear. It should have disappeared already. Just, it's just like that.
November
April of what year?
Yeah. I mean, it's funny that Texas, where Charlie is, we thought it was going to be the end of the week by the time they surpassed New York. On today, they're what? You're 10,000, 15,000 ahead of us?
More, yeah.
Yeah.
We're just taking off.
Yeah.
Hey, how many deaths in New York, New Jersey did you have in comparison to Florida, California?
We had a lot. We had a lot more, but then again, you have to remember when we got it.
Oh, you got it.
No, Phil.
Come on, Phil. It's not that simple.
Yeah.
We got it. We got it when
deaths approximately are from
we got it when we didn't know it was around.
Right.
Look at the 7-day average.
There were 23,000 people died in New York State, but that's because the government didn't close Europe and for what, a month and a half? No, more than a month and a half, 2 months after they knew that there was a virus out there. And so we had 3 million visitors coming into New York from Europe, and that spread it. And we didn't know it was spreading until we finally saw it cropping its ugly head. So don't give us a bad time about that, Phil.
When Trump, when he closed China, everybody called him every name in the book. So I guess
I'll call him every name in the book because he didn't close Europe.
Yeah, well, he closed China.
He closed China because he wanted to get at China. He wants to call it the China flu.
There are 300,000 people that come in by the time he closed it.
And by the way, he didn't close it to all people from China, by the way.
Let's talk about how he closed China. My son is in China currently, actually. He was there in January. He does business in China. He returned in about a week after Trump's ban, but because he was an expat, they let him in. They just gave him nothing but a temperature check, and he was fine. And he was on a plane full of expats who were all allowed to come in with nothing more than a temperature check.
Then why did they keep?
How reliable do you
Robert,
think that might have been?
why did they keep all those people out at sea for a month on those cruise ships?
Bill, we're not. Again, you're doing the same thing you always do. You're changing the conversation.
Oh, it's part of the conversation, buddy.
No, it's not.
Yeah, I mean, if they're letting
false
these
equivalent.
guys in, how come the Americans on cruise ships had to sit out?
That's a false equivalency,
That
Phil.
was Donald Trump.
Trump credit for
He
stuff
didn't want our
that
numbers
You
to
just
go
don't
up.
like the debate, Robert. You just don't like the fact that there's facts.
No, I don't like
there
the fact that you
don't
pull
support
facts out of your ass.
that don't support your position.
Yeah, like you
What's
did
your
last
position?
night
I
with
don't
your
get it.
Washington Post article. Shall we talk about that?
Bill, what is your position? What's the point? I don't get it.
Hey, the point is he closed down the West Coast, and he closed down travel from China. And if he closed down travel from China, it meant it was for New York as well.
So because of that, we can just forget all the other bullshit he's done.
No, you can just make up shit. That you called him a xenophobe. You said that he was closing down China, and because of that, you
got
it was
brown
wrong.
on your nose. Phil.
And you know what? The same thing is for Schumer and Pelosi and all of those people that called him every name in the book.
Here it
Hey, have
comes.
you heard the story? about
Believe me,
Jared-
they haven't called him some of the names I have. Okay. So.
Have you heard about Jared Kushner's plan that magically vaporized?
Yeah.
What was that? I
Jared
read
Kushner,
something.
Jared Kushner was on the task force, the coronavirus task force, and he came up with a plan for dealing with it back in March. But they decided that since it was primarily hitting blue states, they didn't need to do anything because it wasn't affecting their people.
Didn't Jared Kushner get the COVID?
No.
I wish he would, but not that I've heard.
No.
His girlfriend, right?
Oh,
Yes,
that was
his girlfriend
Donald,
did, yes.
Donald
Not
Kushner's,
Kushner's.
girlfriend. That's it.
Yeah.
That's Donald.
But that's what they talked about today. And they talked about that group that he was on had all these things for a playbook, and they just let it go away.
They had their own.
It wasn't affecting their people.
Wait a minute. We're back down to a full house, aren't we? Who do we lose?
We got
Like, oh, right?
Oh, Michael. Oh, he'll be Michael?
Charlie.
Oh, Charlie. That's who we lost.
Hey, Alex.
He'll be back. What?
What was the timeline when they closed down China? March?
No, it closed down China January. I think the end of January, the middle of January.
January 27th, I thought.
Yeah, and they closed the East Coast to Europe in March 15th. March 15th. That's what I remember.
He kept saying UK was okay. The UK, except for UK. I don't know why he kept saying that.
Yeah, and then he changed. He's got golf courses there.
It was based on the amount of cases.
No, it was based on the amount
Back
of.
then?
It was
All the
based.
cases are
It
going
was
like
based.
this.
It was
How do you
based.
base it on
Phil.
any case?
It was a hot spot, and it was based on the fact that he had golf courses there. But he finally had to, because there were too many people yelling and screaming at him, so he finally had to close that down too. But the fact was that we didn't know that all these things were coming in here, and then when they finally hit, we then were the first state that had to actually deal with the disease itself and how to treat it. And we have many treatments today that we didn't have then, and many new ways of handling it and attacking it that we didn't have then. And so we lost like 23,000 people because we didn't have all the information we could have. So
and didn't have masks, didn't have swabs, didn't have all the PPE.
Right.
So today, during the hearings with Fauci, the Clyburn showed him a chart which showed deaths in America as opposed to deaths in Europe, and there was a great disparity on the graph, and Fauci was asked why the difference. And he gave the answer that we didn't take it seriously enough to begin with. Well, 3 minutes later, Trump came out of the White House. A tweet came out of the White House that said, we have more cases in America because we have more tests. And now, with that in mind, I'm curing breast cancer. We're going to make mammograms illegal.
There you go.
And we can cure that cancer, the cervical cancer, by getting rid of pap smears, right?
Or getting rid of cervixes.
Yeah. That's right.
No more scales, and we will not be obese.
There you go. Yeah. Right,
hey, Brian. When
Yes.
did you start working on a COVID?
February 10th. February 10th, and it came out March 17th, I think.
Is that your all's test in the White House?
Fast for us.
Is that your all's test they're using in the White House, Brian?
No, they're using the
I
Abbott.
don't think so. Because
I heard on
we
the
already
news
have our systems out there for people. Like some military had them already, but the thing they talked about today was like getting them into nursing homes. So our stuff is clear wave. So clear wave means that anybody can be able to operate this because our system is so easy where you're just breaking off the tap and putting it in. So that's another big advantage for us that they're starting to talk about. So
yeah,
because all of our sample prep is inside that cartridge. There's no chemicals people have to mix up.
My wife has a family member who went to visit her mother, who was in the hospital for something other than COVID, and she just turned 102 this summer. She took a coronavirus test before she left her home in Alexandria, Virginia, and she didn't get the results back until 14 days later after she was back home.
Yeah.
Worthless.
Worthless is right.
Exactly.
Unbelievable.
Wow.
Yeah, they're talking about point of care stuff again. The same conversations they had back in March. And I don't know how this stuff got away from everybody.
But anybody who wants a test can have a test.
The CDC
Exactly.
guy said
Talk
that
about
there are some tests that were taking 14 to 16 days, but there was other tests that were 3 days and 5 days.
Even still,
that
that's
get
ridiculous.
results.
Worthless.
These were just labs. They weren't facilities where they're on site.
Well, you see, the thing is, and tonight Cuomo said that he is, where did he say he wrote an article? Maybe it's in the New York Times, about the fact that what we did here in New York State is we changed the way in which we did the lab tests. We used only local labs to do the testing. And so therefore we got the results back faster. The fact is, these other states are using national labs, and they're even being sent to Georgia if they're in Texas, to get the results. He said, you've got to set up a system whereby the local labs do it.
Gee, I wonder where that came from.
Well, they've done, 80 million tests now, and not all of them are sent to labs. Many of them are done locally.
Well, most of them don't get there because the post office is incapable of sending mail.
Yeah. Because the Postmaster General is, guess what?
He was
fundraiser.
He was the largest single contributor to Trump, I believe.
Yes.
The Postmaster General. That's how he got his job. He bought it, and he supposedly has been slowing down the mail.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden you got the president complaining about how's the mail system going to be able to handle all this mail, and he's setting up the scenario for I don't care if he loses 2-1, he's still going to claim it was rigged.
Yep.
Yeah. And we're going to be in a real. He says we're going to be in a real mess after the election. And I went, yeah, we're going to be in a real mess because you're going to start complaining about it.
He'll be the first president who will not leave quietly.
Yeah.
There are 5 states right now that only use mail-in ballots, and they've had no problems.
Right. They've been now. Hold on a second, Josh, because you're here and you wrote me about this. Talk constitutionally about being able to prevent the election from taking place as Trump suggested yesterday.
Well, first of all, he doesn't have the power to make that happen anyway. I'm not saying that he said that he did, but even if he can wish it and it's not going to be so, he doesn't have the power. But I don't really think that he wants to delay it anyway. He doesn't want to delay it. He wants it to be held when it's supposed to be held. He wants to then use that as an excuse. I mean, see, it should have been delayed. You didn't give me what I wanted. I mean, but he can't stop it from being held. Only Congress can stop it.
Well, I want to know. Yeah.
Well, go ahead.
No, what I was going to say, maybe Phil could answer this. How is it that it supposedly will benefit the Democrats, the mail-in votes, but it's not going to benefit the Republicans? I think that if it doesn't work for both parties. It doesn't work for everybody.
I think there's just a chance of voter fraud, whether it benefits one or the other. Our elections have always been.
We've had voter fraud forever.
Our elections are looked at all over the world as honest.
Oh, really? Really?
Why do they?
Really?
Why does Jimmy?
Look at that look on Robert's face. It's stunned.
He always has that look. He's from New Jersey. He's constipated. But the thing is, why do they send Jimmy Carter to a lot of why do they send Jimmy Carter to all these countries to oversee the elections? Because we have honest elections, and the Russians and the Chinese want to create discord that will make the American people think that our elections aren't legitimate.
They got us to elect.
And that's what they're doing. And you're all falling into the trap that the Russians and Chinese are setting for you.
By the way, Big Shot,
their agent.
Your article last night in the Washington Post, if only you'd read it, but of course Republicans don't read, if only you'd read it, the gist of the article was that voter fraud is largely disproven and that Trump's case is nothing but him trying to stir up the idea that there's voter fraud.
Oh, Robert, if you'd listened to what I was saying, the reason I presented that article was because Paterson, New Jersey.
Yeah, read the article, shithead. It said that they were caught. Therefore, it made it far less likely that voter fraud actually worked.
You asked me where there was voter fraud.
No, I didn't. I didn't ask you anything. I make it a point not to ask you anything.
and I gave you the example.
And I read the article, and as usual, you parsed out shit that wasn't
I'm glad
there.
the public schools were good to you and you were able to read it. But the bottom line is,
Republicans don't read.
I said in Patterson, New Jersey.
Read the article, shithead. It doesn't say that at all.
You're a fucking.
Diamond, can you make me some popcorn?
Hey, by the way, those 3,000 votes, those 3,000 votes that were allegedly fraudulent, they weren't fraudulent. They were thrown out for
make me some popcorn
technical reasons. The
All
fraudulent ones were like two
get a beer while you're at it.
Republican council members that were cheating, and there was only like 10 ballots that they got caught with. The other 3,000 were just rejected for bad signatures or
mail-in ballots.
Just because they're mailed in doesn't mean they're counted.
They weren't counted because they weren't fraudulent. They were defective.
Why is it Republicans like to scream about potential voter fraud, but they never say anything about election fraud, such as disenfranchising people, such as wiping people off the voter rolls illegally?
Yeah, closing down.
That's a whataboutism, just like Robert hates. He says he doesn't like this.
I never said that.
Subject.
Now you're pulling shit out of your ass again, as usual. I've never said that.
Voting locations.
Well, I mean,
loser.
I don't know Phil's take on it because I didn't hear last night's if you talked about it. But I mean, the whole point of this is really being missed, arguing over what could happen or might happen or voter fraud or whatever. It's all secondary. I mean, what everyone should be upset about is the fact that a sitting president of the United States has openly suggested strongly in multiple ways that the re-election of himself should just be we shouldn't do it. We should just wait. Just let me stay here until things are good. And in the sentences before that, he was running around telling everybody how great everything is. The economy is coming back. We got to open America back up. You got to go back to work. We got to play sports. We got to get all these things opened up. Americans need to return to every single day-to-day activity that they have done every day of their life, except one thing, and that's vote. You can't do that. You can't have any voting. But you need to go to work, you need to go to church, you need to go everywhere, you need to do everything, but
he's implying that, Phil. You don't want to hear it. That's what he's
I heard him say he wants the election to happen on time. I heard him say in front of the camera and the microphone say that he wants the election.
He talks out of both sides of his mouth, Phil.
There you go.
In the one breath, he says, I want it to happen, and on the other, he says, maybe we should delay this.
Right.
I mean, are you, Phil, are you comfortable with saying we're not going to have an election November 4th?
I'm comfortable with the fact that there will not be any mass mail-in voting.
I mean, let's not, I don't care.
24%
If everyone goes and stands in a line,
Are
you, now that he's said he wants to delay it, do you want to delay it?
Well, that's
because weeks ago you were on this program multiple times saying, oh, I know what's going to happen in a few weeks. All you fucking yellow-bellied libs are going to want to delay that election. You're going to want to shut it down. And now none of them have said that. The only person in America that has walked to a microphone said, I want to delay the election.
Josh, I don't remember that at all.
I mean, that's the only person.
It never occurred to me to delay the election.
I want to delay the election. So I'm just asking you, do you want to have it on November 4th or do you want to wait?
November 3rd.
Absolutely.
Whichever day.
November 3rd?
I can't remember.
Yeah, I think it's November 3rd. If I'm not mistaken.
I want it to proceed as normal.
Okay.
Yeah.
So are you not upset that he's acting as if, I mean, he's not. This isn't casual conversation. I mean, he has suggested he wants to delay the election indefinitely.
Well, but Josh, don't you think that one of the reasons he's inferring this is because he has loser's breath right now, and he knows that if he loses, he's got to have some kind of reason to say he actually won.
Sure. I mean,
Worry extra.
it's
because they
certainly
lost.
a calculated move to build in an excuse if he loses to contest it or to stir up enough trouble.
Yeah.
There's no doubt.
Charlie has his hand up. Charlie?
Yeah, that's because Donald Trump is too stupid to realize that if we don't have an election, he doesn't get to stay president forever. He gets to stay president till January 20th. If there's a no election, then Nancy Pelosi becomes president.
That's right.
Yeah.
He's
Okay,
too
let's
stupid to
hold up the
realize that.
election.
That's the only reason he suggests that, because he thinks he gets to stay in power until we have an election. Because he's never ready to
And he was talking yesterday about the fact that this is going to be a holy mess. It's going to be terrible because it's going to hold off the election, and we won't get the results that night. And I like sitting there with my popcorn. Yes, Kevin's got his popcorn.
I mean,
and I want to watch the results. I'm sorry, but tell me about this with Gore v. Bush. When was that one settled? When was that election night settled?
10 days?
No, it was we were well into January, weren't we?
No,
before the
No.
Supreme Court made its decision.
Yeah.
It was in December.
Early, I think it went.
What,
I think
Bush?
it was early January.
Yeah, early January, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's vote now.
Yeah, it was it. So
Let's vote now. We'll have the results by November.
Yeah.
Well, that's
Suppose
what
it
Trump said.
continues.
He'd like to see the vote moved up.
Suppose he continues to bitch and whine and scream about the whole conspiracy about the election being all fucked up, and then he wins. What happens then?
That's what he said last time.
He contested
That's
it.
what happened in 16.
He was already saying it
He
in
was saying it was
16.
rigged in 16.
Well, yeah, but this is worse now. We've had 4 years of the bastard. Now he's going to sit there and bitch and whine. Oh, it's all big. It's a big
what he's
blowout.
choosing-
It's all fixed. It's all
What
screwed
he's
up.
choosing to ignore
win?
also is that in 2016, 23.8% of the ballots were mail-in ballots.
Yeah.
Right, but he didn't think he was going to win. This time he's considering it that it's going to be fixed.
He said,
Okay, he says it's
absentee
fixed on
ballots
November 1st.
It's the same
And
as
then we
mail-in.
all
There is
go to the
no
third,
difference
and he
between
wins.
No
absentee
difference.
ballots and mail-in ballots. They're exactly
No
the fucking
difference.
same thing.
are more regulated than the mail.
No, they're not.
All right.
No, they're not.
They're not.
There's-
No, they're
Same
not.
process.
I work the polls. They're the
Exactly
same
the
frickin'
same
thing.
thing. It's exactly the same piece of
It's a
paper.
different
that you get.
box you check.
mail it out to everybody. Every Tom, Dick, and Harry gets a ballot.
Nobody's going to
You
do that,
don't
Phil.
Hey.
mail it
Get
out
it
and
into the wrong hands.
Nobody's going to
People
do that,
that
Phil.
ask
He's just trying to scare people.
Donald, I work the polls. They're the same frickin' things. You check a box.
By the way, all mail-in ballots have a barcode, and you have to sign them, and your signature is on record.
And
So-
it's checked.
What?
They're checked.
Yes,
They're
gotta
checked,
match
and they
the
are
signature on
checked,
your
yes.
voter
They are
registration.
checked.
And
If
it's
the signatures don't match,
felony to
that ballot
fuck with
gets
it.
rejected.
And you get a phone call.
I don't get it. 5 minutes ago, he told us we had the most honest and fair elections in the history of the world.
That's
I mean,
why
I just get
don't
confused.
support-
I'm serious.
Okay, then you're confused. It must be that you don't realize that the mail-in ballots, the mass mail-in ballots, are not the same as the.
There's no such thing, Phil.
Oh, so they have two different
There's no
ballots.
such thing as mass mail-in ballots.
Go read the
There won't
articles
be
from the
if Trump
Post
is
again.
right.
Wait a minute. Hold on a second, Phil. What first of all, who had his hand up? Somebody had his hand up and wanted
did.
to talk.
I
Yes, John, and then Robert.
Not this kind of off topic, but the news they said today that he has put a halt on advertised spending, and there's a saying in the real estate business: don't throw good money at bad money. So I think he's pretty much knows what's going on, and he's probably saying, let's not waste our money on fucking ads. Let's take this money and I don't know, stick it in a Russian fucking
Pay family members to be
yeah,
consulted.
put it in a Russian money laundering thing.
Doesn't he get to keep whatever he doesn't spend?
I don't think so.
No, personally, no.
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 Okay. But he
Well,
got.
If he
fine,
pays-
well,
if he
I
pays-
thought he was so
if
rich he
pays
didn't
his
need to raise
daughter-in-law-
money.
If he pays his daughter-in-laws to be consultants, then they get to keep it.
Like Ilhan Omar gave $600,000 to her husband in the last couple of weeks. Hey,
wait a minute. What does she have to do with any of this, Phil?
He says he's paying his daughters.
Wait a minute. What does this have to do with any of what we're discussing?
That's a whataboutism.
It has a lot to do with
it's a whataboutism, and it has to do with another politician altogether. And if you want to talk about other
liberal crew here is one big whataboutism.
Wait a minute.
I mean,
this
well,
isn't.
first
Wait,
of
hold
all,
on a second.
I mean-
Hold on a second. Wait a minute. This isn't a whole liberal crew.
Yeah, right.
Down at the bottom here, we have Patrick, who just called.
Right there.
Patrick is not a liberal.
I mean, but I'm not going to sail on that boat with these people. I mean, what's her name up there in Minnesota? I mean, she's a fucking idiot. Okay, I get tired of hearing her fucking shit too. So I'm not going to be lumped in with that horse shit because that's exactly what it is. I mean,
look, Vernon,
you know that I've treated you respectfully. I've never called you a name.
I didn't say anything to you.
I know you didn't. I'm making a point. That's all. That's what I'm saying. That's the problem here is you have to let people finish a goddamn sentence, okay? Sometimes when you talk, there's a comma there, not a period, and the sentence goes on for a little while. You have to let people finish what they're saying before you start talking back to them so that you could get the full point of what they're saying. I'm not going to be lumped in with that.
I was answering Vernon.
I thought you were getting paid by Alex anyway, Phil.
What?
I think you're getting paid by Alex anyway to be the. Because if you weren't here, we'd have
Contrarian.
to argue.
Hey, there is
Well, I'll tell you. Hold on a second, Phil. Take a breath. Patrick, who I like to say is down at the bottom, he's a bottom. Is down at the bottom. Is not a liberal. If I called him one, he would yell at me. But I don't think you see but you don't like what Trump does, right?
For the most part, no.
Yeah. So, and there are a lot of Republicans now are getting to feel that way too. There are a lot of Republicans starting to turn on him. Even Mitch has said, "Hey, this whole thing about the elections, come on, lay off."
He also told all the Senate who are struggling in their districts to get reelected to distance yourself from the president if you need to win.
Did he say that?
Yeah. Take a look at CNN.com.
Yeah. Well, of course, yeah, Phil will call it fake news. Anything's fake news unless it doesn't benefit his argument.
And if it's Fox News, you say it's fake also.
No, I watch Fox, and
there are things that are quoted.
Occasionally, they're telling the truth, like those ads for the silver dollars. I think
there are things that are said that you can't fake. You could fake commentary. You can, like you do, Phil. You have a way of saying, "Well, you got to count all the numbers." Well, that's not the way it works, Phil. Because the first few weeks of the pandemic, A, nobody knew how serious it was going to be. B, no one knew how to really treat it. And C, we weren't prepared with tests. We weren't prepared with PPE. We weren't prepared with a lot of things. So you could spin your details. But a fact of what somebody wrote or what somebody said it's kind of hard to lie about that. And that's why Trump says shit all the time, which is you can say the liberal media spins it. They may talk about it more because it's outrageous, but he says what he says. And that's what supposedly, I didn't read the article completely, but that's what it says he told them. Not a spin.
Howard.
Yes.
Hey, Alex.
Yes, Howard. Wait a minute. Let Howard talk. And don't use that background. Howard.
Mr. John, he accused me of getting paid by Gabnet, and so I stuck
all
on
right. Get rid of
$2 bills.
Yeah, because
watched,
Howard can do it because he has an actual green screen.
I got one too. I just haven't used it.
Well, then use it because that looks terrible. Yes, Howard.
I went to a realtor conference today, but anyways, they had this guy by the name of Dr. Chan, a chief economist. He was on TV yesterday on national TV, but he came up with an idea to kind of like help the economy.
Mm-hmm.
And here's his idea. First, we need a vaccination.
Yeah.
And then he wants to basically have the government pay everybody who gets vaccinated $1,000. At least the people that are poverty or lower income levels, because those are the ones that are not getting health care. And so that's the incentive, is you get $1,000 every time you get for everyone who gets a vaccine.
Well, you know, the thing is that everybody's going to have to get 2 vaccine shots. They say that most of these vaccines, you're going to have 2 of them. So that'd be $2,000 right there.
Well, the vaccine also, when it comes out, only has to be 51% effective.
Yeah.
That's what the government says.
Yeah, well, we'd be happy with 10% effective.
Aren't there 6 companies making vaccines now, or getting ready to make the vaccine?
They're getting money from the government to make them.
The companies are being paid to produce them. They haven't necessarily developed them.
Johnson & Johnson says theirs might only be a 1-shot deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, not a 2-shot vaccine.
Possibly.
Shot, yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's not get ahead of ourselves, because even Fauci says best estimates are first of the year. Okay? So, you know.
Hey, at 1,000 a vaccine, I'll get one every week.
Yeah.
Yeah. They still need the testing.
You still need the testing.
And they got to
And,
manufacture it. That takes a
and
while.
you know something? What we've got to watch out for is it's going to happen again. And we have to be ready for the next pandemic. We can't, we have to learn by this lesson. And we haven't learned by past lessons. I mean, we had the H1N1, we had the Hong Kong flu. What else did we have out there?
Ebola. Zika.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah, what is that, Howard?
I just got fresh sourdough French bread delivered to my house.
Oh, God. Oh,
Put it to your screen. I want to smell it.
Does it taste different when it's there instead of San Francisco?
It looks like it was sent to him from San Francisco, because that looks like a San Francisco loaf to me.
I made friends with somebody who makes fresh French bread. He just baked it and just rang the doorbell and delivered.
Oh, really? He doesn't make it in Hawaii, though?
Makes it right here in Maui.
Really? Oh.
Yep.
Does he have the sourdough yeast, you know? Because
He's got the sourdough starter he has to keep
that
alive
yeast
every
is
day.
hundreds of years old.
Don't know the age.
Well, no,
It
what
may
happens
come
is
from San Francisco.
the yeast they use, they take a little bit of the yeast, they put the pot, put it back in the pot, and then when it's in the pot, the yeast, because it's bacteria or something, multiplies and keeps
Flour and
growing.
water.
The pot is always filled with yeast.
It's flour and water.
Yeah, but
Alex,
Parisian bread.
flour and water.
But no matter how much they take, the yeast that goes in there to give it the sourdough taste and so on.
Well, once you process it, yeah.
Yeah, it
'Cause I've
comes
got
from
my
a
own
sourdough
fr-
pot.
My sourdough is from the Oregon Trail.
Is it really?
Yep.
Yeah, that goes back that far.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
How
Where
can you
did the
is there
Parisian
like how
stuff?
do you prove that? How do you trace that back?
Hey, you just go with what the person.
Well, no,
that
what
gave it to
happened
you-
was it was a bread that was developed during the gold rush, because what you could do is you could have a pot, a yeast pot, and then the yeast in the pot was there, and then you used it to help make the bread. And as you used it, you put the top on the yeast container, and it would simply keep growing, so that when you open it up again, it was filled. And so you never
feed it every
ran out
day
of the yeast. So that same yeast is the same yeast that's being used to this day in making San Francisco sourdough French bread.
Is that where the Jews went wrong with matzah?
Yes.
It was unleavened.
Yeah. And it tastes that way, too, I might add. Yes, Robert. Did you wave your... Oh, I saw you waving your hand. I thought you wanted... Oh, you're doing your Groucho Marx impression. So anyway, so that was what was happening today. That and the fact that the Postmaster General has been holding back funds, so the mail is going slower, so they can make more of a case for the mail-in ballots, against the mail-in ballots. And what was the other thing that happened today? There was one other thing that happened today, and I don't know what I'm trying to remember what it was.
I guess I was just going to say
Jim Jordan tried to beat up Fauci.
Oh yeah, Jim Jordan. What a piece of work that
What an
asshole.
asshole.
Yeah. Here's Ray Renati, ladies and gentlemen.
Hello.
I mean-
This goes way beyond jackpot. This is like
Super duper jackpot.
this is 15 people, is it? Yeah, 15.
Wow.
I guess all I wanted to
his
say
ballot
was,
already.
I mean, mail-in ballots or not, I don't care if everybody, you know, if you got to go to fucking Lowe's and buy a Tyvek suit and fucking wear fucking 3 of them and stand in line for 6 hours to fucking vote. If you want this shit to be over with, that's what you're going to have to do. I mean, fucking disease or not, you know, I mean, or this shit's going to fucking continue, because I think I'm a bit more unnerved than most people over that, because I'm just telling you that if I ask Phil, hey, the president says he wants to delay the election, what do you think about that? Well, I didn't really agree with it, you know, but if that same scenario had been Barack Obama and I'd asked that question, it'd just be, oh, you believe it? He wants to delay, he just wants to stay about. I mean, it would just go, I mean,
10 minutes.
There was an op-ed in the Washington Post entitled, Trump's call to delay the election is the most anti-democratic move by a president in American history, and it's hard to disagree with that. I mean, it is the most anti-democratic thing that a president of the United States could ever say, which is, I don't think we should have an election. I should just stay.
You know, I
wish it is the antithesis of Washington saying, I have served long enough. Find someone else.
I mean, I don't know about you, Josh, but I'm sure you'll agree with me. I would just love to have a full-on election cycle, you know, without all of this, and with the debates and with the conventions and all of that. But I'm sorry, something happened here, and we have to adapt to it in order to save our lives. And that's it, plain and simple. You know, you can't do much more than that. I mean, I would love to see, I mean, the debates we're going to have between Trump and how are they going to do those? Are they going to be in the same room together? Are they going to be?
They don't have to be. I mean, they've been doing everything on television using Zoom or whatever they do. They don't need to be in the same room.
Do you think you think they are going to debate?
Oh, they're supposed to. Yeah, they're supposed to have one up here in Cleveland and
Zoom.
Not that long from now at
What?
Case Western Reserve at the probably up there. They have a big law school and stuff up there. I'm sure they'll have something to do with it.
I'm with you, Josh.
Hundreds of millions of Americans have to go to work every day. Those two motherfuckers can stand in the same room 10 feet apart for fucking 2 hours. I mean,
We haven't heard a word from Tony. Hello, Tony.
How you doing?
Yeah.
Nobody decried that you shouldn't go out and protest in the street, but we can't vote.
What, Tony?
Yeah, I was saying I'm more of an independent voter because last time I voted third party. So I really don't have an allegiance to either side, to tell you the truth.
Oh, so you're the reason why Trump is president.
Well, like you said, Alex, my vote doesn't matter in New York.
Well, you're right. It really doesn't. You know.
And I wanted to vote third party. I figured, you know what? I wasn't thrilled with either one of them at the time.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? I never thought he would win anyway, to tell you the truth. That day, I was working the polls by my area, and when they were coming up at the end with the TV, like he was winning, I walked home. I was in shock. My brother called me. He says he's going to win this thing. You know what my brother told me? He still swears it was rigged.
I could yell and scream that too, but then I'd be acting like Trump.
I mean, I don't want to piss.
I agree.
But I was still shocked that he won.
Well, he kept saying that, he kept thinking he was going to lose. So he said, the whole thing is rigged. The whole thing is rigged. And he won. And if we believe it was rigged. You were right. You told us it was.
Well, didn't the first part of the Mueller report show that it was rigged by the Russians?
Yeah. What is that behind you?
What's that?
Oh, are you doing one of those?
The Russians influenced it,
back
but the
screen.
Russians didn't actually change any votes.
I'll get rid of it.
Yeah. Let's see.
I know you don't like
Let's see what your messy room looks like.
All right.
There we go. That's so much nicer. Yeah.
I mean, I think, you know what? I'm going to tell you something, though. And Josh makes a good point, though. A lot of people just complain, but they don't vote.
Well, I mean,
they don't vote, and you don't have nothing to say.
My biggest fear in this whole thing is that it's going to be a clusterfuck because Trump is going to make it so. He is not going to take losing gracefully, and it looks good that he's going to lose. Most of the polls are saying now that even the states that he once had are not with him, and it's because I think they've tired of the act. That's really what it's all about. And so I think he's not only lost the confidence of the public, but he's lost the entertainment value as well. And
I'm in Rob's camp, Alex. I wouldn't get too confident.
No, don't get confident.
I don't want to sound like Trump, but I am not buying into those actual polls, as you think.
I think what's going to happen is, I think, for instance, the black vote didn't get out for Hillary. I think the black vote is going to get out for Biden. Would you agree with that, Charlie? I ask you as the official black guy in the crowd.
Charlie.
Do you think the Obama that's helping Biden out's going to help some of that black vote, or do you think it's already there?
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
I think Biden engenders a great deal of confidence in the black community. They like him, you know. They don't, you know, Trump, the trouble is, I say again, you know, people are tired of the Trump Act. That's really what it's all about. It's just been exhausting. I mean, he has been dominating the news every day for the entire time he's been president. You know, and you're saying, well, he's president, of course he would dominate the news. No, Obama didn't dominate the news every goddamn day. He sometimes went a week or two without you really hearing much about him.
You would like to think that for as much as the Republican Party, you know, runs around with this patriotic garment on, talking about how great Americans are and America is, and it's great, 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 maybe some people have started to say, okay, in all of this great country of 360 million people or whatever it is, maybe we could find one person who could get us all the things that we wanted policy-wise that he stands for, but try to go about doing it without the circus being attached. There's got to be at least one. And maybe we could find that guy in a few years from now.
Or gal.
It's too late now because we let it go. And we're in the hunt now, and it's decided that these are the two guys. But, you know, we've fucked up, so we have to swallow this now, and we have to sit here for 4 years, and we have to start looking for that person who can pursue these policies, as dangerous as people like you and I might think they are. But that's what they want, and maybe we can find someone with some integrity and who can do it with a little bit of professionalism, so that we can not get that power, you know, through this circus act, because it wears people out and it'll just go away. Let's go back to our old tactics where we can fucking, you know, try to make it a long-lasting thing.
Rob had his hand up. Yes, Rob.
Never mind.
What do you mean, never mind? What were you going to say?
Not important. I changed my mind.
Let me ask you all a question. I really, you know, every time I watch these congressional hearings, I get upset. Do you get upset, Robert? I know you watch them. Did you watch them today? I get upset not because it's like, why the hell do they hold them? You know? I mean, nothing ever gets done at those things. I mean, all I heard today were when the Republicans got up, you had guys like Jordan. Jordan is a piece of fucking work, man. And all he went for his 5 minutes going against, why don't we get to go to pray in churches? And I mean, he talked about everything. The Portland riots. They were there to talk about the coronavirus, not about the Portland riots. But this wasn't, this was him. He was the worst offender in all of this. But everybody had an axe to grind. And I didn't think that's what this hearing was about. It was to get information, to ask these people why. And instead, everybody's like posing, you know?
Yeah, they kept drilling them on, are rioters okay? Are rioters okay to be doing that? He asked that question over and over and over again. Ridiculous.
Yeah.
Somebody should ask him about those young wrestlers that got buggered under his watch.
Yeah. Yes, Jeff, did you want to say something?
No.
Oh, okay. Robert? Yeah.
Robert.
The thing I miss, I'm not a registered anything. I don't feel the need to belong to a team politically, but I do lean left. I'll admit that out loud. You know what I miss the most? I miss the most having a friendly political debate with a Republican. I can't find one anymore. What I find are people that have to, within the first 5 minutes, call me a leftist, a Marxist, a communist, a this, a that. Tell me that, we'll destroy America, that all of us are anarchists, that, it's just simply illogical that the largest block of voters in America, for all these years, want to tear down the country. Couldn't it be that we both have just different ways of looking at it, but that we're all in our own way patriotic Americans?
I'll tell you, the guy you would love to argue with sometime is Patrick, because Patrick is always very decent about it. I don't think, Patrick, you've ever called me a communist because of my feelings or demeaned my opinion. You just simply went, hey, I disagree with that, and then you gave your basically right-wing opinion, okay? So it happens here with Patrick. Now with Phil, it's another story. Who has his hand up right now?
Go, Phil.
I heard a survey that is interesting what Robert said, but I heard a survey that 63% of Republicans and Democrats don't have a Republican friend. So, for instance, 63% of Democrats can't say that they have a Republican friend, and vice versa. The Republicans are the same way. So there's a lot of division, and here Alex doesn't pay me to do this, but what it does is it has me at least giving a voice to the other side, no matter how radical you may think it is. And so what we're doing here is contrary to what the majority of Americans are doing.
No, it's not.
We see. We'll get to you in a second.
No, it's not, Phil. Because look, I'll tone it down, but you start from the standpoint that all Democrats are shit. That's why I asked you the question last week about weren't there any in your entire life Democrats that you admired? I've never voted Republican in my life, but I could make a list as long as my left arm of Republicans that I disagreed with, but that I admired. And you can't do that. And to me, what that does is it just delegitimizes your opinions.
Oh, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. But all I stated is that the majority of Americans don't have friends that are across party.
I'm not talking about now. I'm talking about you in the overall, Phil. You constantly make the comments that Democrats are all communists or anarchists.
Well, maybe they are, but the thing is, I'm here and I'm having a conversation that most people aren't having.
Maybe they are. Maybe they are communists. Are you serious, Phil? Oh, okay.
On.
I don't know.
You know me better than that.
I know, but you do say it a lot.
I've known Phil for how long, Phil? Or at least he says I've known him that long. How long, Phil?
Well, originally we met in 1973.
Okay. So that's more years than we want to count.
I remember when the Republican Party was anti-communist Russian communism. Now they're pro-Russian, but it's not communism anymore. Now it's fascism or...
I don't think they're pro-Russian, and neither is Trump.
Oh, shit.
Phil, let me just say this. I don't think Trump is a right-winger. I don't think Trump is a conservative. I don't think he is a Republican. I don't think he engenders any of the things that are admirable about those various ideologies. He is, however, a totally incompetent person who should have never been made president of the United States, because the only reason he wanted to be president of the United States, God knows what financial reasons he wanted. It was probably to get out of some problems that were coming down his back. But he didn't, being president wasn't something that he has been very good at. And he has no guiding principles, so that's why he's had trouble with the office. I mean, I may not have agreed with Bush, but he had guiding principles, and he respected the job he had.
That's right.
And I
He
don't
wouldn't
think
rip
Trump
apart
respects the job he has, and I don't think he has any guiding principles, because I think in his entire life he's never learned to have any.
Right.
I think you made all of that up, and it's very accidental.
I made it all up. Have I made it all up?
It's not based in fact.
It's an opinion.
It's based on observation.
It's based
Phil.
on observation, Phil.
Your observation.
If it walks
is-
like a duck and it talks like a duck, it must be a duck.
Yeah, well, this is a man that kept us out of wars that we would have been in.
If it looks
In
like
your
if it
opinion.
looks like
opinion too.
if
There's
it
no way to
looks
prove that.
if
There's
it
no
looks like a
facts.
duck and it
Right.
like
So,
a wait,
but
Phil,
Alex-
if it looks like
so-
Phil, if it looks like a fuck and it walks like a fuck, it must be a fuck.
But that's exactly, it's your opinion, and that's all it is.
No, it's my observation.
He gives us enough
Your
material
observation.
every day.
What'd you say,
it's a
Ray?
Very valid
Well,
observation.
Trump gives us the material via Twitter and on TV,
Right.
and you don't even really have to make any conjectures. I mean, he gives it to you.
You could be
I
a
mean-
16-year-old in the middle of bumfuck, and if you say something about Trump on Twitter, he's going to respond to you. The fucking president of the United States. He's that much of a narcissist.
Yeah.
Isn't that great?
I mean,
that
what
he-
was all that crap
out
about?
the little
About
people?
I don't understand why they love Fauci, but they don't like me.
They don't love me.
They don't love me.
A lot of people think Fauci's a fraud.
Oh, God.
You know, I
Yeah.
like
But
Fauci,
they're stupid.
and I was glad that he got
Many people think Fauci is a fraud. Many
People. He's a fraud, and it's beautiful.
People are
He's a
saying
very beautiful fraud.
He's a
I don't know
beautiful
from
fraud.
what I hear.
You know,
There's a meme there that shows Fauci and it says, "Yeah, and it shows like his history of all of his work. It says, "I did all this just so in 2020 I could fake out rednecks to wear masks."
yeah.
All his history of all the people who he served under. He
Yeah,
did all
yeah.
that stuff just to make rednecks wear masks.
And he was good enough for every one of them, right?
Yeah.
When Trump
Everyone
got
he
elected-
served under, they all kept him,
Wow.
Republican and Democrat.
Wow.
When Trump got elected, he did, from November till January, before he actually got sworn in, he did 4 or 5 rallies when he should have been fucking, preparing, the whole his government, what he was going to do. He wasn't there to govern. He was just there to be a fucking show horse. That's all he is. He's a fucking stupid, lame show horse.
Trump wanted to own an NFL team. They didn't like him. They wouldn't have him. And ever since that time,
He's hated the
he's
NFL.
been
He put them in
trying
court.
to show how special he is.
He's never liked the NFL since he wanted the Generals to merge with you. And what did he do? He took them to court and he won $1. But he never got into the NFL though.
Yeah. Hey, listen, you know something? We have, 15 people here. This is the most we've ever had at one time. And because of Zoom, it's not huffing and puffing very heavily either. It's not a strain on the system. But I used to have a studio audience, and I've never heard applause in a while. So would everybody applaud at the same time? I'd like to hear you applaud. Isn't that great? Wow, that's true. Thank you very much, ladies and
You gotta
gentlemen.
get that
Thank
piped in.
you. Huh?
You gotta get it piped in.
I
Yeah.
actually have a sound effect with applause.
No. These people applauding was really nice. Yes, Ray.
I just want to. So even before Trump became president, do you remember?
We don't have
there was
time
the
for
birther, the birther movement.
Yeah.
Okay, remember that?
Yeah.
Central Park 5, all this crap. I mean, the guy was out of his gourd before he even ran.
Yeah, I mean, he was doing it before,
Yeah.
the idiocy.
They're
But,
still guilty, aren't they?
yeah, they still are. Hey, here we go. You just have to, first you
And the
show
whole
us your,
brother thing, which is
you
ridiculous.
show us your
Goodnight, everybody.
overly
There's
you show us your overly handsome son, and now
Did
you
that
show us your
popcorn ever make
overly
it?
adorable daughter. Hi,
Right there is
Adrian. How are
Right
you?
there is a great reason to
uh,
save this world.
Huh?
Right there is
Yeah.
a great reason why we have to save this world.
That's right. That's right.
Damn
Hey,
right.
listen.
Will
There's
you wear a mask
there's
when you
our
go back
theme.
to school?
There's our theme. Howard, thank you. Thank you, Phil. Thank you, Rob. Thank you, Bob. Robert. I keep wanting to call you Bob. Jeff, Josh, John Larkin, and Brian, and Jennifer, and Adrian. and Vernon Nunn, and Tony, and Charlie, and Kevin, and Patrick, and Ray. Hey, this is, I think, maybe the largest panel we've had ever. Anyway, what I want you to do, however, is give a big wave
at the end of the show.
Yeah, big
instead of
bravo! Yeah, and give a big wave goodbye as well, okay? Bye-bye, everybody. There goes our citizen panel, ladies and... Oh, man. That was a lot of people. Oh, that's terrific. That's the way it should be. That's our citizen panel for tonight. By the way, there'll be a new citizen panel right after us with Jack Bishop and the Intersection. Following next over most of this GabNet. I'll be back again on Tuesday night at 10:30 Eastern Daylight Time. Same station in life. In the meantime, as always, if you see her, tell her I love her. And as always, be safe out there, okay? And make sure, above anything else, for yourself and for your fellow man and woman, that you wear a mask. See you next week. Bye.